Welcome to Kathryn Raaker's World. Innovation, culture, adventure, fashion and health, artists, destinations, traditions. This is Kathryn Raaker's World.
Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker of Kathryn Raaker's World, our syndicated TV show, and Let's Just Talk, our syndicated radio show. I have the honor of introducing you to an actor, a writer, a producer, and a person that went through a horrible accident and God saved him to be on earth to help other people. So I want to introduce you to Luke Benjamin, let me say that again, Luke Benjamin Bernard. And Luke is going to be talking about the horrible accident that occurred to him and his family. And then he's going to talk about the film that he produced out of that. So welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Mind if I call you Luke?
Oh, please. I call me Luke.
That's fine. Tell me, you wanted to be an actor for how long and be in film?
Well, I got bit by the theater bug. I would say my sophomore year in high school. The football coaches, they wanted me to gain weight to go to varsity to play offensive line, and I didn't want to do that. And my grandmother, she owned a costume shop, and I was always the character in the family gathering, and she was always like, you need to audition for school plays. And so I did. I got the lead for the musical No No Nanette.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I was like, well, I was probably a little cocky and arrogant because of that, that coming from sports, you just have that. I was like, well, I just show up and I'm the best, so I should do this for the rest of my life. So I was really naive and stupid, but that's the path I took. I went to the University of Central Florida for a musical theater degree. I did well with Tony and West Side Story, Dracula and Dracula, so I did well. And then I went out to LA to pursue a film career.
Mhm.
And so that's how my acting journey began.
Now, you were how old by that time, Luke?
By the time I moved out to LA, I moved out there. I was 24. When I moved out there, I was like 24. And then the car accident, I was 25. I just turned 25. Yeah, which just totally changed the trend, the path of life and everything for me. So both me and my family.
Let's talk about the accident and how it happened. Would you mind?
Oh no, so since I suffered traumatic brain injury, I had to do research for what happened to Luke.
Right.
Because I didn't start regaining memory on remembering one day to the next, probably about 6 months after the accident, maybe 4 or 5, but it was a period of time. So how the accident took place is hard worker, worked a double shift at a restaurant. I went to work out at the gym, met with coworkers to have a few at a bar, and then a group of us were meeting and sleeping over at a coworker's place to run the color run the next morning. So just hearing that, I was like, that was so much activity. I was just blown away that that was my course of a day. Uh, and so the police report says I just my car just veered off the road and I hit newsstand and eventually a tree, which totaled the truck. So it was a single car accident. Praise God, nobody else was injured.
God, thank God.
Um, and so that's me doing the research of how it happened. The injuries um, I sustained, I requested my medical records to find out. And so I was reading through my medical records, and it said patient entered with fractures, facial fractures, rib fractures, C4 and C6 vertebrae were fractured. Patient was a GCS of 3 with dilated and fixed pupils. Now, since it's listing the injuries, when I see it saying GCS of 3, I am not a medical person. I have no idea what that means. I just know it's some sort of injury. So I asked a friend of mine who happened to become a doctor, what is GCS? What does that mean to be a 3? And he says to me, it means basically you were dead. I was like, okay, can you at least tell me what GCS stands for? He told me it stands for Glasgow Coma Scale. So, of course, being a millennial, I Googled that because I was like, what is that? And so it's a scale for trauma patients go off of. And so the lowest in these 3 different areas, if you score 1 in each of them, it's the lowest you can be. And I read a medical journal that said patients that are Glasgow Coma scale of 3 virtually have no survival. Um, those with a Glasgow Coma scale of 3 with dilated and fixed pupils have 100% fatality rate. Most medical teams will stop treatment and consider organ donation. I'm an organ donor. So I was entered into the #1 trauma unit on the West Coast, LA County Hospital. They saw I had a slight pulse, and so they decided he has life, let's treat him. Performed the surgery to remove my skull to save my life. I'm just so immensely grateful for the medical team treating me and saving my life, and ultimately God just placing me in front of these doctors' hands, Dr. Matei. So I'm just so grateful for God and the medical team that saved my life.
You know, Luke, it's really funny because my brother is a survivor like you, and they didn't think he was going to survive. And I think that God leaves angels on earth like you and my brother. David is his name.
Mm.
And a detective in Los Angeles actually gave him the bone marrow. Nobody in our family, and there's 6 of us, you know,
Wow.
plus him makes 7. None of us matched him perfectly.
Uh,
And without that wonderful donor, he wouldn't be alive today. And I see a lot of you I see you in each other because you have this little halo, seriously, this little light around you, okay, or halo or whatever. And I mean that in the best of that. I am privileged to interview you, to know you.
well,
It's
thank
like
you.
it's like the guardian angel that came to me. And I
Mm.
think that you going through a brain injury and how long did it take you to totally recover from
Oh,
it? Are you still
oh,
recovering in a sense?
yes. I mean, someone who suffers a traumatic brain injury, I don't know if someone, especially as so severe as mine, I don't know if you could say that you're ever 100%, because I still have some things that I'm dealing with my health, but God's still working. I'm not gonna say ever, possibly. So I was in the IC unit for 3 weeks. Then once I was up more and being able to move, they moved me to Ranchos Los Amigos for an inpatient rehabilitation, going through all the different therapy, physical, speech, occupational, just all the, because I had, my brain injury was so severe, I had to relearn everything again. I had to learn how to speak, how to write, how to dress myself, just basically from an infant all the way up, and how quickly my recall and cognitive ability came back to me. The therapists and the doctors, they were calling me miracle. Uh, I had brain injury. I had no idea why they were calling me that, because I was like, my name's Luke. Why are they calling me that? So just part of the, just not understanding is part of the brain injury. There's different stages through a brain injury. Um, but after 3 weeks there, they cleared me to be able to release to society. My parents flew me back to Florida to continue my outpatient therapy. And once I was back home with my parents, my long-term memory and visual and familiar places started to help me regain my memory. And so that was uh, part of the recovery process, the healing process, and through this process, I was struggling to sleep at night, and that's very common for someone with a traumatic brain injury. I didn't know at the time, but I have sleep apnea, and I sleep with a CPAP machine. But at that time, I was just tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep. But one night, I had this deep sleep, a very visual. I felt like I was watching a movie about these two brothers. And the two brothers, there was some conflict between them because one was Mr. All-American Christian athlete, and the other brother, he just felt shunned. He's like, why does everybody like my brother? Um, I don't want to be like my brother. I'm this great Christian kind of guy. Like, why do I have to be like that? So that was my dream. And then the brothers are driving. Car accident happened, just like I had. And the perfect brother had all the same physical injuries that I had, and he had the same miraculous recovery that I had. And the other brother, he had the same awakening of God's love for him like I did. Because, quite frankly, when I was out in LA, I was kind of living the party lifestyle, even though I was raised in a Christian home, just because I felt like I had to be a perfect Christian to be right with God, but I wanted people to like me. And so I partied. I was a funny drunk, and so they liked me to party with them. So it was just this battle that was going on within me. So that was my dream of the two brothers and their journey, and it was so vivid. I was out in LA to be an actor. I thought it was supposed to be a movie, and God was wanting me to write a movie script.
And on that
I was
note,
just
on that
Yeah, I'm
note,
just finishing up rehab, and my parents, they're telling each other, it's going to help him with his recovery.
that's right.
Yes, God wants you to do it. Write your movie script. And I just stayed day and night writing. And in a month, I wrote the first draft uh, of, it's called The Favorite. And my parents, they read it, and they're biased, of course, and so they thought it was great. But my dad was like, okay, well, I know a movie producer. Let me send it off to her and just see what she thinks about it. She told us, well, the script needs a lot of work, but I gotta tell you, it's work worth doing because you got something here. And that just,
And on that note, I got to take a break.
okay, yes.
I was trying to tell you, you're going to take.
Oh,
I'm
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm a
going to
talker. I'm
continue.
sorry.
No. I'm going to continue and make it a regular special. That's what I'm going to do. We are back with Luke Benjamin Bernard and his story of his life, his accident, his movie, and what he's doing today. And this movie is a beautiful Christian story in my estimation. Am I correct?
Well, yeah. Well, it's faith based. It's just I would say it's just gritty and real. It's different because yeah, there's God shows up in this, but it's real life of like what happened to me. Um, and the thing is like there's MMA fighting in it. There's action, and it's just gritty.
It's
People,
it's reality, real,
yeah,
real, and it's faith-based. But the amazing part of it is it's really two of you,
yep.
right?
That's
And
that,
because there was no other brother, there was the two of you within you. And you you came back to Florida and you decided to write the book after a dream. And I really believe that God did that for you because I think it's really strange. I just have to say this, Luke. I don't know if you dream in color, but I dream in color. I can leave a dream, wake up for a minute or two, get back in bed, and I can go back into the dream. Now,
yeah.
see, am I right?
I can do that sometimes. Sometimes I can do that.
So
Yeah.
God gives, I believe, gives you that ability. So maybe he's trying to tell you, you need to do this. So your parents sent it off to a producer. Then what happened? And she said it needs work, right?
It needs work, but it's worth doing. So we that was still the start of our journey. Every Sunday we had intercessors praying for us to you know produce this movie. And so it was doing rewrites and meeting people and trying to get the film done. It took I would say around 2.5 years.
Right.
So it took time. It just didn't happen just like that. But the film was produced, and now it's out, and um, yeah, I just
Churches, is it in churches like the large mega churches now? You can go up and get it online, right?
you can get it. You can get it. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. You can search it. It's Universal Studios. They are the DVD distributor, and so you can find it on all cable networks. You can find it on there, Google, YouTube. You can purchase the DVD through that. So there's a lot of different areas that you can find it. The message of the movie is everyone is God's favorite. It's all about God's love, regardless of what you've done. Because I felt that I just wasn't good enough and I had to be a perfect Christian. And once I started sharing my story and testimony, a lot of people my age came up to me and they said we feel the same way, that we have to be this perfect Christian. Um, I don't know if it's just the upbringing of us millennials, that we come to think that you gotta do this, dot the I, cross the T, tithe, all these kind of things, or you're not good enough for God. So, and I just feel like that is a common thing, a common lie from Satan, that we're not good enough for God, which is a total lie, because we are saved by God's grace and mercy. Um, Jesus, he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I started having those thinkings, but that's the change that I've had in my
Now your
life.
life changed again
Yes.
because you met somebody, am I correct?
I did. I'm married. I'm
Right.
married, yes, and we have a little girl.
Yeah.
So
I can see her drawing. Is that her drawing?
that's another one of it's my um, niece.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it's not my daughter's, but yeah, it's family and the family drawing.
How did you meet your wife?
eHarmony. So I met on eHarmony. Just way life is, it's just hard to find people and had certain criterias of like making sure that she is a woman of faith, loves family, and just that just people who do online dating. Everyone has their certain criteria of what they're looking for.
That's
So and
How long did you date?
3 months, and then I proposed to her.
That's
So
great. I did it. My husband did it in 3 weeks. Sorry, got it on you,
got me beat, got me beat.
but it was a God thing for me too. So, I think God works in really special ways. Tell me now, are you living still in Florida?
Well, when we married, she was in Greenville, South Carolina, and she closed on a house when we were dating those 3 months, and so that's where we were living. And then I felt God was calling me back to Florida to do ministry, and I've written the sequel to The Favorite, and this is where The Favorite was produced, and just felt like God was calling me back here to continue with the ministry. I'm working at my dad's nonprofit, Somebody Cares Tampa Bay, and so that's now I'm living with my parents, and we're trying to figure out what's going to happen with our house in Greenville, South Carolina. But
Well, I'm
God will
trying to
provide.
bless. I'm trying to bless you with that one, my dear. You,
Well,
you
I
know
mean,
that.
yeah, I do know that. I'm very grateful. I just know that it says God will provide all your needs according to his riches and glory. So I
Right.
believe I'm on the right path,
Right.
and God will provide.
And you were actually wonderful actor in your own movie, which makes it even more exciting, right?
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
I really liked the character. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I watched the whole trailer and I was like, I have to watch this now today. So it's one of those things where, you've lived it and you know it and you have the passion for it.
Yes.
And, Schneider did a great job in the movie.
I yes.
Actually, he's one of, I would like to interview some of the people that were in the movie besides you, because, he just lost his wife just recently and he went through a lot.
I know. I
And
know.
I know he is healing, and I know his agent pretty well, and I love the movies that are out today because they they have a moral to the story.
Hmm.
And it's a teaching thing as well. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. My parents they have put together the favorite 6 week study guide dealing with favoritism and how biblically it says that you are God's favorite and His love for you. And so so yeah, we have materials of learning of what God says about favoritism and how you are unconditionally loved by Him. And so yeah, there's some learning too from this as well.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me today on Kathryn Raaker's World and Let's Just Talk. And I want to invite you back again if that's
I'd love
possible.
to. I'd
And
love it.
thank you for joining me today. Give your website out if you wouldn't mind, Luke.
It's the favorite movie dot live.
The favorite movie, what?
Dot live.
Dot what?
Live, Live.
Oh, live.
Yes.
Okay, dot live. And they can get it on all of the everything, right?
Yeah, you can search it for on Amazon Prime. You can just Google search and put The Favorite Luke Bernard, The Favorite 2019, and it will pop up. You'll see John Schneider, Luke Bernard, and you'll know that that's the one.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.